Welcome to my channel, The World of Science Fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Asterisk. Vareen had lived her entire life believing humans were weak, noisy, emotional creatures who survived only through luck and stubbornness. As a commander of the Ravka Empire, she had fought countless battles, shattered enemy lines, and earned the fear of a dozen systems. Yet on this day, on the grand ceremonial platform of her empire, she felt something she had never felt before. Not fear of an enemy, but anger at fate itself. She had been forced to marry a human named Elias Kane, a diplomat from Earth, who somehow stood tall beside her as if he belonged in the hall of Ravka warriors. Vareen kept her jaw tight, her claws tucked in, her expression cold. She refused to look at him longer than a second. She refused to accept this bond. She refused to believe she would ever let this fragile-looking creature near her. But Elias remained calm, almost annoyingly calm. He did not tremble, did not bow, did not stare at her as if she were a monster like many humans did when they first met her species. Instead, he watched her with quiet eyes, the kind that saw too much, the kind she could not read. His confidence unsettled her. Nothing unsettled Vareen. The hall around them buzzed with ancient energy as priests prepared the Nexus Stone, the artifact that would seal their marriage bond. Vareen's heart pounded with irritation. She had vowed never to stand beside a human, never to touch one willingly, and definitely never to marry one. But political peace required sacrifice, and she was the sacrifice chosen. She told herself she would endure it. She would not flinch. She would not break. And when the ritual ended, she would stay as far away from this human as possible. But destiny did not care about her pride. When the Nexus Stone ignited with pale blue flames and the priests commanded them to place their hands upon it, Vareen stepped forward with a silent snarl hidden in her throat. She placed her palm on the stone, ready to pull away the moment Elias touched her. She expected cold skin. She expected disgust. She expected nothing. What she got instead shattered every wall she had built around herself. The instant Elias's hand brushed hers, a shock passed through her body. Not a small spark, not a gentle pulse, but a wave so strong she forgot how to breathe. Her chest tightened, her knees softened, and her heart hammered with unnatural force. She had been stabbed before, electrocuted, thrown across battlefields. Nothing had ever felt like this. Time slowed. Sound vanished. Her vision blurred around the edges. She saw only him. Elias did not react. He held her hand with a calm, steady strength, almost as if he knew this would happen. Vareen hated the way her body responded, heat rising under her skin, breath shivering, mind confused. She ripped her hand away, stumbling a step back, her pride burning. The hall whispered. The priests exchanged looks. Elias stood quietly, his expression unreadable, but there was a flicker in his eyes, something like understanding, something like he had been waiting for this. Vareen avoided him after the ceremony. She walked fast, hoping to leave him behind, but Elias followed at a respectful distance. His silence irritated her more than noise ever could. Humans talked endlessly, and yet this one spoke only when needed. Why was he different? Why did he not fear her claws? Why did he not bow to Ravka warriors? Why did he not react when she nearly collapsed from a single touch? When they reached their transport shuttle, he finally spoke. You felt something. His voice was calm, steady, and far too sure. Vareen spun around, rage covering her confusion. I felt nothing. But Elias shook his head slowly. You're lying to yourself, Commander. Hearing a human say, those words nearly pushed her into attack mode. Her claws extended slightly on instinct. But Elias did not step back. He did not tremble. He simply held her gaze, and for the first time, Varine felt truly seen, not as a weapon, not as a commander, but as something more vulnerable. She hated it. She boarded the shuttle without another word, but fate struck again before she could calm her storming mind. The moment the shuttle rose into the sky, alarms screamed. Explosions ripped through the hull. Ravka extremists' warriors, who believed humans should never be allowed to join their bloodlines, attacked with deadly intent. Varine reacted instantly, muscles tensed, ready to shield herself. But Elias moved even faster. Before she could blink, he pulled her into cover, pushing her behind a blast shield as flames erupted across the cabin. She didn't understand. Humans weren't this fast. Humans weren't this fearless. She watched with disbelief as he grabbed a fallen Ravka rifle, analyzed its controls in seconds, and fired precise shots that disabled the attackers. His movements were sharp, controlled, impossibly skilled. Varine felt her heartbeat shift. Again, but this time not in fear, not in hatred, but in something dangerously close to admiration. When the final attacker fell and silence filled the cabin, Varine stepped out, staring at him like he was an unsolved puzzle. "How?" she whispered. "You're human." Elias breathed heavily, but still managed a faint smile. "Humans adapt." It was such a simple answer, but spoken with a confidence that made her chest tighten again. Their shuttle crash-landed far from the city, leaving them stranded near crystalline caves that glowed with soft light. Inside the cave, the air was cool, calm, and painfully quiet. Varine finally confronted him. "What did you do to me?" "During the touch?" Elias sat down on a stone, his expression gentle, thoughtful. "It's not what I did," he said. "It's what we are." He explained something she had never heard, an ancient bonding reaction recorded in early human and Ravka encounters, long before modern peace. A rare neurological connection that formed when two genetically compatible beings touched for the first time. "The bond chooses you," he said softly, "not the other way around." Varine felt heat rising under her skin, her heart pounding in a way she couldn't control. She hated the idea of destiny. She hated that this human knew more about her species than she did. She hated that he saw her reactions before she could hide them. But more than that, she hated that she could no longer deny the truth. She had felt something deep, something terrifying, something she couldn't push away. Before she could respond, the cave shook as more enemies approached. They were heavily armed, determined to finish what they started. Varine lifted, her weapon ready to fight, but Elias stepped beside her and touched her hand again. The bond surged through her body like a powerful roar of energy. She gasped, her breath catching as warmth, strength, and desire raced across her chest. She felt her body tremble not from fear, but from connection. She didn't pull away. She couldn't. Elias looked into her eyes and whispered, "You're not alone. Not anymore." Varine had fought against entire armies without flinching, but these words nearly brought her to her knees. With their hands linked, they fought side by side, their movements syncing perfectly, his calm precision meeting her warrior strength. For the first time in her life, she felt complete. When the final enemy fell, silence returned to the cave. Varen's chest heaved as she looked at him, every emotion she had denied rising to the surface. The bond pulsed between them, warm and undeniable. She took a slow breath and whispered the words she never thought she would say to a human. "Don't. Let go." Elias's hand tightened around hers, steady, reassuring. "I won't," he promised. And in that moment, Varine understood the truth she had been fighting from the beginning. The human she hated had become the one she craved, the one she trusted, the one destiny had chosen for her, whether she wanted it or not. Their bond wasn't weakness, it was power. Power strong enough to change both their worlds forever. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. More HFY adventures are coming soon.